Time now to get more, presented by Geico. The next installment of Chiefs and Bills will happen at 4:25 Eastern on CBS, but there are injuries abound for both teams. I mentioned both squads shorthanded. No Dalton Kincaid or Keon Coleman for Buffalo. Isaiah Pacheco not ready to come back from IR. And Harrison Butler dealing with a knee injury on IR. The only one up for grabs, Amari Cooper dealing with a wrist issue, questionable for this game. Cooper missing the last 2 games for Buffalo. All right, let's break this game down in length here, and we're giving Jamie Eisenberg a break, going to bring him back in just a little bit. But let's talk about the Chiefs, guys, which there's different ways that they've been described this year, being the only undefeated team in the NFL. Living a charmed life, maybe a little bit of luck, dominant in situational football. Darius, how would you describe what the Chiefs are doing so far this year?
All the things you said. A lot of people say lucky, and definitely they've had some calls go their way, just like, you know, that long 2-decade run we saw at the New England Patriots. Everybody always thought it was something going on, something in the mix. Oh, everybody's in on it. Taylor Swift's at the game. Roger Goodell's one thing. Look, at the end of the day, it's details. It comes down to details, and you can tell on the film in the games, even the block kick. Yep. You see that, you saw that kind of coming throughout the game, having success. And in the biggest moment, when it shows up, it shows up. So the little things you can tell that they focus on them. You look at their 3 coordinators, offensive side of the ball with Andy Reid. Well, he's the play caller. Spags on the defensive side, and then David Toole on the special teams court. Those are 3 probably Hall of Famers. So obviously those guys know how to get their team prepared. And when the rubber meets the road, I feel like the Chiefs are always going to make that one extra play to get that win.
What I love is the evolution of this team, right? Because we've talked about this before, Pete. Going back to like 2020, 2019, Patrick Mahomes is averaging 300+ yards throwing the ball down the field when he had Tyreek Hill. And then they lose him, but then the next year they're still the #1 offense in football, right? And it's, what you talked about there is the details, right? We can even go back to the Super Bowl last year and the 49ers not knowing the rules in overtime and the Chiefs knowing the rules. And I love how they've switched things up, and now the defense is the strength of this team. It's led by its defense. So I just love the evolution of this team. They can beat you in a multitude of ways. And yes, Mahomes hasn't thrown for a ton of yards, and I know Pete hates to hear this, but he's managed the game properly, right? He's managed the game properly. Case in point, last week, you know who the leading receiver was for the Chiefs? Kareem Hunt. Checkdowns, right? If you know they're playing man coverage and you have that linebacker out leverage, I'm going to my back right out the backfield. I'm not forcing the ball down the field. So I really love this growth because I felt like in the beginning of the year, Patrick Mahomes was pressing a little bit because they talked all offseason about getting the ball down the field. Well, they realized teams were playing that too high shell. I can't force the ball down the field. Let me matriculate it down the field. And most offenses, it's hard for them to do that because you know this, Darius, usually get a false start or a holding call that really puts you behind the 8 ball. But they've been able to execute at a high level and lean on that defense.
This is a hard day for you. You probably didn't sleep last night. You got your game manager against the quarterback you can't stand. I mean, how are you going to handle it?
Why do you think I can't stand Josh Allen? I got love for Josh Allen.
People in Buffalo talking about you. When I go
they love me in Buffalo. They knew I laid it on the line every time I was out there. I got love for people in Buffalo.
And then what they say behind your back. You know what this is for me? This is you know, the Buffalo Bills are Charles Barkley and all those teams that couldn't beat Jordan. You know, it's Kemp and Peyton, and you got to find a way. Stockton Malone.
Really good, but not good enough.
Bills from the 90s. You got to find a way to win this game, but you got to find a way to beat them when it matters. Correct. And this game is enormous because you might get the game in Buffalo again in the championship game. If the Chiefs win this game, and I said it before, if they win this game, they're going undefeated. They're going undefeated if they want to, because they might not play in the end of the season. Correct. But if they win this game, they will go undefeated. And so that's how important it is from the Chiefs standpoint. Legacy is important. I think, you know, going undefeated and maybe winning it again brings in the whole conversation about Mahomes being the greatest of all time, even though he doesn't have as many Super Bowls as Tom Brady. So I think there's a lot of things at play here. The Bills have to figure out they don't want to be the stepchild anymore. They want to be it. And the Chiefs are playing for legacy because I really believe if they win this game, they have a chance to go undefeated.
Which is interesting because as we're taking a look at best starts by defending Super Bowl champs, the Bills have had a great regular season record against the Chiefs. To your point, Pete, has just been in the postseason, which they haven't been able to do so. Darius, I want to piggyback on something I think Pete said in terms of, again, that sort of it factor, situational football, because Pete Prisco said last year was the year to get the Chiefs. This year, probably offensively, they try to get better, but due to injuries and such, again, having red zone issues. But what is it about Patrick Mahomes at an underdog role that he comes through when it matters most?
I don't know. It's just like it feels like he's one of those players where the game just slows down in the biggest moments. Now, we watch the tape, and all the things you guys said are true. They aren't having the explosive plays. They aren't scoring a bunch of touchdowns even when they get in the radar. Now, that will be something to keep an eye on, too, with Harrison Butler being out for a few weeks. Yeah. Now you'll probably get more Mahomes, probably more four-down situations, probably more going forward. But until they get that development from some of these receivers, particularly Xavier Worthy, we kind of knew, well, I knew coming in, like, he's a speed guy, he's an explosive guy, but you got to learn how to play wide receiver in this league. And you can see little moments, lack of concentration here. He's young, he'll learn. DeAndre Hopkins, he'll become a bigger and bigger focal point in the passing game, I believe. And Travis Kelce is going to always be Travis Kelce. So when you have that safety blanket like Travis Kelce, who's been in every situation with Patrick Mahomes, you know, even Kareem Hunt, he's coming back and kind of finding the fountain of youth. So it's just, you mentioned the tackle early. The tackles, they haven't been great, but it's just Patrick Mahomes always finds a way to just scramble, run, whatever it is, a little dump off here, whatever it is to get his team in that situation to get over the hump. And then the defense. Right. The defense has been phenomenal. Spags has always been great. The DBs come up and tackle, which I love. They blitz, they cover. I think they'll probably try to spy Josh Allen today. So it's just they just have the perfect mix. I know you can say, hey, yeah, this is the year to get the Chiefs. It always looks like it's an opportunity. Yeah, last year. But even this year, you can look at them on paper and be like, man, they're not playing that great. But when you actually, and it's kind of a mystique, too. When they run out of the tunnel, the other team almost kind of feels like, all right, everything has to go right for us to get a win today. So they just got it all going in their favor right now.
Mahomes 11-3 straight up as an underdog, 12-1-1 against the number, Pete Prisco. It's pretty good.
Yeah, well, look, he's the king of the quarterback position. He's not a game manager like he says he is. Game managers don't come back from double digits the way he has in his career. When the moments matter, he matters. And again, has he been the explosive guy? No. Yeah. But when it's time to go, get something at the end of the half, at the end of a game, do you sit there and say, boy, I don't think he's going to go get it. He's going to go get it, and that's what makes him great. And on the flip side, look, the Bills don't get the credit they deserve for being who they are. And they went into the season. Everybody talked about everybody else in the division. Yeah. It's going to be the Jets. And, you know, we all thought the Jets would be better. Yeah. Maybe Miami. But then they said, well, this is the year. Buffalo's going to come back to the pack. Yeah. No, they have not. And, in fact, they might be the best team in the league right now, aside from, you know, the top team.
What about Detroit?
Can Detroit rush the passer?
We got Detroit, we got Baltimore.
Well, Baltimore can't stop anybody.
Blew them out, though.
Everybody beat them early in the year. So that was one of those games, though, they caught them on the night game at their place. Yeah. But here's the thing. Buffalo doesn't get the credit. Sean McDermott doesn't get the credit for doing what he does. They've had so many injuries on the defensive side of the ball, and yet they're still hanging around. You mentioned Greg Rousseau. He's had a phenomenal year. Von Miller's back now rushing the passer. Daquan Jones is healthy. So I think
Terry Johnson, one of the best slot corners in the league.
The quarterbacks, Rasul Douglas and Benford don't get the due they deserve.
Well this year too.
So the whole defense as a whole doesn't get their due, and they have Josh Allen. So this is a big moment for McDermott, too. Look, 13 seconds haunts that franchise. It haunts Sean McDermott. It haunts the entire organization. If you know how I know? Go up there and mention it. I have. They don't like it. They fend it away. The fans hate it. But the reality is they've been there. Now they just have to get over the hump.
Yeah, this would be a really great spot because you talked about it, Tom, 11-3 as underdogs. But when you look at the past 6, they're 6-0 straight up as underdogs with Mahomes at quarterback. So this is a team, I feel like Mahomes, when he goes into a place and he's an underdog, we saw it through the playoffs last year because everybody was like, and he said, you're calling for us? I'm here. He went into Baltimore, got it done. Went into Buffalo and got it done because people didn't believe if they didn't have home field advantage, they could go on the road and win. So I just think it's something about Mahomes when he feels like he's an underdog. And you know, people used to cliche, oh, chip on the shoulder. That's a chip on the shoulder for Mahomes. And then there's something else I want to look at. When you look at quarterbacks that currently have a winning record over Mahomes, there's 2 only currently. One's in the booth, Tom Brady, calling games, so he can do nothing about that. Joe Burrow owns a winning record. And if Josh Allen were to win this game, he'd be even with him. And I don't think Mahomes want anything to do with that. Like the competitive nature in Mahomes.
He knows those numbers.
He knows what the numbers are. He's like, there's already got one guy that's got up on me. I don't want another guy to be even with me right now. So I think when you ask Tommy, like, what is it about the Chiefs? I think Mahomes just has that chip when you don't believe that they can do it, right? When you don't believe they can go into somebody's house and win a game. And as underdogs, it's proven this record, it speaks for itself.
The perception is that Mahomes has clearly outplayed him in all those games, and it's not even close to the reality. And it's just because he's won those playoff games, and that's the reason why that perception's out there.
I just think it's interesting. You have a two-time Super Bowl champ who feels like they're playing the disrespect card. There's also some similarities to that Niner game where they were short underdogs and Mahomes did everything late against the Niners to win that game.
Correct.
All the things that you guys talked about. One last thing on Buffalo, because they're riding a 5-game win streak. It was this time last year when we were at Arrowhead that they started that run to get to the postseason and win the division here. But what stands out to you about Buffalo? 8-2 start. It's the best since '93. Last time they went to the Super Bowl.
And it's Josh Allen. Josh Allen, we all talked about it, losing those weapons, not only on the offensive side of the ball, but they lost a lot of leadership on the defensive side of the ball, too. And he's kind of put his team on his back, regardless of who's been in or out of that lineup. He's put his team on the back. Now, Kincaid will be out. You know, that's a big piece of made explosive pieces. Keon Coleman has been coming along. Coop may be back in there this week. Shakir has been an absolutely safety blanket. But it's not a lot of household names out there running routes for Josh Allen. So it's been really, really special to see him kind of, because the thing about him was it was a Josh Allen experience. It was going to be a lot of good and then bad, a bonehead play or two every game. And he's kind of cut back on a lot of those and been very, very efficient in the red zone. So he's kind of reinvented himself with this new team. So, I mean, I'm loving everything I'm seeing from Josh Allen. I will be obviously keeping an eye on him with missing those big weapons this week.
Yeah, he's limited his turnovers. He had that nice interception streak that didn't happen until late
Joe
there.
Brady,
So.
look, Joe Brady took over, and they kind of just like pieced it together. And I remember being there in the summer, and they said, look, it's amazing how different Josh Allen is. And I watched practice, get the ball out, not holding on to it, not trying to make the big play. And it's a different Josh Allen. Like you said, it's a different offense. And I think we're seeing that. Once they're all healthy, and they will be healthy because Kincaid and Coleman will be back, that's going to be a really good offense.
All right, I need a winner, fellas. Who wins the game today? Pete?
Buffalo.
I'm taking the Chiefs.
Break the tie.
I'm going to Chiefs.
Okay, 2-1 Chiefs.
I'm bucking it. I'm bucking it.
I will say this. I know we talk about Josh Allen and how he's progressed and actually elevated everybody on offense. That defense, 10 turnovers the last 5 games. They've been playing really good on that side of the football.
All right, great stuff there, guys. Of course, one of the marquee games. Again, arguably there are 3 really good ones this week, but we focused on the one out there in Western New York. Pushing the Pile with Kyle Long and Mike Renner. Both Pete and Lee J are weekly guests on that podcast. Scan the QR code and enjoy it however you listen to your podcasts.